Guess what? We're working underneath the house in the basement. This is a room that has not been finished since I guess the thing was built. And there was some discussion about what we should do with the ceiling. The rest of the house was done with acoustical ceiling underneath here in the basement. And so we thought we'd do the same. What they did was they ran the ceiling tile even, the bottom of the ceiling tile be even with the beam, and they put wood and other things just made even with that. What I suggested is we just go, because if we went up, we would end up going over the top of these walls. So I didn't want to do that. Because we'd have to spend the time to build up the walls and finish the walls so that we could have just another 1.5 inches, 2 inches of time. So why not just drop the whole ceiling down in this area? So what we're doing is we're going below that beam. Now this beam is pretty level. It's a little high on this side, but it's level. And there's another steel beam over there. And this is carrying, by the way, a mobile home. So I think this thing just appraised for huge money. So anybody that says mobile homes can never accrue value, that's not true. This is a very good example. And I would refute anybody. It all depends on how well you treat that home. And that's the case with any home. If you trash that home, it will not be worth as much as when you got it. So, if anybody wants to talk numbers, I'll be happy to talk numbers. If you want to talk examples, I can talk examples. So, it's just not true. First of all, what a new mobile home cost 10 years ago, what it costs now, huge money differences. You put that on with utilities and everything else, huge opportunities for anybody. So they're wrong when they say it's a bad investment. No. Should you take on things you can't maintain, you can't pay taxes on? Probably not. But just gaining the knowledge, then you can. And that's what I do. I provide you with the opportunity to maintain your home and improve your home, whether it be a house, a mobile home, or even a commercial building that you might actually be, you could actually live in one. So anyway, I want to get back to where we're at. We're putting a acoustical ceiling below the beam here. And one of my videos shows you how to use a water level. We're not going to do that here. This room's so small, we won't need to. But we do know that this beam is about where we want the mains, which are 12 foot long. We just got these at Lowe's. You can get them at Home Depot or any number of other places. We want those to be able to go underneath these beams. So we know we're going to be 1.5 inches all the way over there. We know we're going to be 1.5 inches here. So this room is just not justifiable to try to get into a water level. It's almost all the way across, but we're not going that direction. We're going this direction. Now, first thing I'm going to do is put the wall mold up. And the wall mold, I gotta find it right here, or L mold, is L-shaped, right angle. And I'm saying aim too much. This one's bent, but we'll fix that. So along the bottom here is where the bottom of your mains will go, and your T's will drop onto that also. So this is your bottom of your ceiling. So now what I'm going to do is, I know I want to be able to go underneath that beam, and we'll check here in a minute with a level. This one has a magnet on it. You don't have to have one with a magnet on it. You see how big they did here. Same thing, a little high on that side. So we're going to go and measure where the tape measure, which I don't have. We're going to see that this is 1 3/4 thick. And we got it like 1/8 of an inch on the L mold for its thickness. So I would say 2 inches below, and pop a line. 2 inches below, pop a line. And you could do this in a room with a level. You don't have to use a water level. I like using water levels because they're more accurate quite often than lasers. Not as speedy, but more accurate. If you ever want to check your laser, you can use a water level to check it. So, what we're going to do is pop lines with a chalk line. And then we'll pop through that way also. And we'll find out where we fall out over here. So we'll hopefully show you guys what we come up with. We'll pop the lines, just the two of us here today, and you can see us do it. So you can do it too. But let's pop this line with the chalk line. Here's your mark, you gotta carry through it. Here's your mark on the left. Wrap around my finger so I get some. You on? Yeah. Stay there, transfer your mark over onto the column. So you can pop from the column, it'll pop through that way. Go to the column, Clay. Have to get over on this angle. Oops. Okay, that's it. Let's do the other side. On these right here, we'll take a level and go back, and then pop a line in between these columns. Take a level and go back. If you do it with a square too, if the wall is level, well, I can double check, but I'm pretty sure that it's fair to level. But you should always check. Always check. Your mark, you have to go through the column over here, Clay, and mark on underneath the column. me right there. You on that mark?
Yeah.
I make a mark good?
Yeah.
Maybe you wondering what to deal with this blind and window. We'll show you what we can do. We had to do some thinking about that too. All right, let's take a 4-foot level and get your ladder over there. Put a 4-foot level. Go over to that corner. Level right here. The bottom, they don't level. You're low. Go up. More. Right there, mark it. Bottom of the level. Let's look more. And extend it on over to that corner. Go to your line. Move up. Right there. We'll extend that mark over. We extend that mark over here. Let me get it back into there. Yeah, catch my face. We can't go all the way around before we can. Alright, so there you go. Is it on? So it's not this line. Right here. Can you pop it? I'm just showing the level that this is what we have. line between those two columns. Which,
Right here.
okay. That side.
Oh, straighten it up.
That's me.
This next one. They all straight.
I turn my back. So we've got all the lines popped. We can put the wall mold up. So that's what we're going to see us do next. And we'll. This is drywall here with wood framing. With this over here, it's concrete. Now we do have some wood around the opening of this window, so we can fasten to that. But we're going to have to get Tapcon or concrete screws and drill some holes to hold it where we want to hold it. The rest of it we can fasten with screws. And then when it comes to doing this professionally, a lot of them use staples to put that up. That's an art in itself. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a way to go really fast. There's a lot of things that they do that are very, very different than what you can do. Plus, they walk on stilts a lot of times. I have stilts. I don't want to fall, and I can walk stilts. But I also know that there's nobody who walks stilts that hasn't got broken bones that I know of, and I know a lot. So we'll just go around fastening, and we'll bring you back when we get all the wall mold fastened. Probably bring you in a couple places where we do the corners, how I do that, and then we'll see what we can see. Okay, so we fastened all the wall mold L angle on the walls except for around these columns. And what I'm doing is I'm going against the wall over here about 1.125 past, put it up here, and then I'm marking it back a little bit on this side. Then I take that mark and I cut down here to that mark like that. Then I get my screw guns, some inch-out screws. Right. Let me pull that down a little bit, get to the line. I want to stab my hand. Okay, then we got that L angle cut 1.125 past. We're going to mark it back here. Leave the bottom. Cut that. Cut to the corner. That's for an outside corner.
Alright, so here you go.
Very good. Then we're going to cut from this corner here, where these two cross. This one going this way, this one going this way, to that corner there. I'm going to cut through both of them. I'm not grabbing the snips, even though they're brand new. Should cut that easily, but it's not. I have to wiggle it off. It's a shame. Milwaukee's failing the competition with Wiss. All right, see how those corners line up really, really tight? There you go. That's what we're going to try to do on all these. Now on this end, that's in a outside corner. When we have a double outside corner, a little different in that you want 1/8 on each side. So we mark like right here, right here. Line it up with the edges of the column there, make it back a little bit. Go into the wood. All right. So now, look at this one, where it's 1 inch past. Cut it back.
South Carolina. Hello? Apparently my Broncos extended car warranty died.
1987 Broncos got an extended warranty. They called you about it. They had a good warranty, didn't they?
Yeah.
Again, go those two intersect to that corner there. And these snips are not passing the test. You should have cut through that easily. Anyway, there it is. We're going to do that on all the outside corners, and that's what you can do. Just that simple. So you can do the same thing on the inside corners. I don't think a lot of people notice.
Why don't you finish this one up so they kind of get the idea?
Huh?
Finish this one up.
Finish them all the way up.
At least so they get the idea. Remember, a guy was asking step by step, so.
Well, I can do that. And again, I'm marking right up here so on the back. Yeah, I should be wearing pouches, but I rebel against it after years of having to wear them. All right. All right.
Sorry for moving away. I'm just trying to show them.
That one cut right.
Yeah, let's go. The first corner.
We're just going to do that one more time. And we'll have all the outside corners done.
Hardest part is just to move around there with the camera to look towards it.
Yeah, that's how I learned. I learned by some guy cussing. Like, I'm allowed to teach you how to be my competition. It's not right. Get your ass in there.
Who was that?
Oh, man. There ain't no journeyman that didn't fuss and fume. I'm not one to teach you how to compete with me. You better get it right. I ain't gonna waste all my time. There's a couple of guys that were pretty good. Nice guys to work with, but most of them were not.
Oh, I need to show you something that's pretty interesting that happened at F1.
I know Lewis Hamilton doesn't care, but I don't like Lewis Hamilton because he gets away with things he shouldn't get away with. Even though he has the highest priced team in the world. I just don't think he's that good. And I think there are better drivers driving with less money. So, and I don't know, he don't care what I think, so. Just watching him drive, he's by no means the best driver that I've seen. And if he was my friend, I'd tell him the same thing. He's not my friend.
And now he's got the corners too. Oops.
It takes a while for me to get used to these handles being red and yellow. Cutting better. It is. Ta-da. All right. Now we're going to do the mains. If you notice, this is not, you don't have to do it this way, but there's a lot of different ways you can do it. I'm going to do what they did in the rest of the house, which is to put a main every 2 feet. You don't have to do that. You can do 4 foot, and then a 4 foot T, and then a 4 foot T in the middle of the 2 foot. You know, and so you could literally use less mains, but the rest of the house was done that way, so we're going to do it on every 2 feet. And I've marked it up here, not down here, so I have to clean it up. That way I know where to set it. And that is where the mains are going to go. I've done that on both sides on the premise that this is fairly square. Their waist is square. And one of the things that we have to deal with is we have to support those mains. The mains these holes here are where your wires go through to support any of these holes, not this one. This is where your T's come in. So your round holes are your support wires, where you have all these choices. Do you have to be directly above? No, you don't. You can be at an angle one way or the other. So your support wires, I'm going to put about every 4 to 6 feet on this. And in order to do that, we have from Lowe's suspension ceiling hanging wire. And I've seen people hang it with, this is real low. You can bend it. It's not real easy to bend, but you don't want it to be easy. But I've seen people do it with baling wire. It's not as good as that, but baling wire can be used. Now, how do you fasten it? Okay. On a commercial job where you have concrete floor above, you use a ramset gun with a pin that has these type of holes in it. And this is lag screws. So these are spun into wood, which if you have woods above you, you can do that. And they actually make a suspended ceiling lag screw driver. And that thing has that slot in there for that to screw the lags into. So that's what we're going to do next. You want to set that up? Okay, you're on?
Yeah.
Okay, so the driver's in the impact gun. It can be a drill. This has a slot in it. Can you see that?
Yeah, I see that.
Okay, so we're going to put that in the slot. We're going to find the floor joist on the bottom of this mobile home. Line it up with that 2 foot area. There we go. We got a place to hang the wire. Let's see. Probably put another one right here.
Priorities.
Hmm?
It was kind of hard to find. Easier to see with your eyes than the camera. I was lining up with this mark right here. He made it.
It's on the floor joist in that mobile home there. Really can't put too many.
Doesn't hurt.
I guess not.
But we do it every 2 feet.
No, it's way too much support. Doesn't have that much weight on it.
Technically speaking, Lewis Hamilton qualified P8. But the guy was in P1 that qualified P1.
The guys in P1.
The guy that qualified P1, his car broke down at the start of the race. So they retired his car, which was Ferrari.
Lewis Hamilton is not as good as drivers he thinks he is. And everybody tells him that. He needs to stop listening to everybody and pay attention to the game. All right. So we're going to do that on every place that we're putting the mains. In this case, every 2 feet we're putting in a main. And we're not putting any 4-foot T's in, because that's the way the rest of the house was done. So that is what you would do. You can also, you can put screws and hang it off of screws and nails. It would support that. It really doesn't have that much weight other than the lights and the insulation. The tile is not heavy, so it doesn't take that much support. Although too much, there's not really such a thing other than it gets in the way of putting in lights.
Maybe in a great big hospital.
Yeah, when you want to work in there, there's too many wires, but generally you don't have an issue. And I've done it where you hang, use a heavier wire, and you hang. They have a grid that's made for hanging drywall on, and that's a lot of weight. So you can literally hang drywall on it like it's a framed ceiling for like in a house. And I've done that in commercial buildings and such. So anyway, we're just going to keep on putting these lags in. We don't want to bore you with every bit of it. It is boring for you to do, tedious, but it can be done, and that's what we're showing you. It can be done. All right, so one of the things you got to do to support the main is hang wires. That's why they call it suspended sealant, and the wire is about what we showed you, the roll of it, and then this is the length of it. Now what we determined to do on the length is we're going to have like 10 inches that are bent through the hook that we put up on the floor joist. So like about there. We're going to go through that hole in that lag bolt. And then on the bottom we want 16, 18 inches to beyond the bottom or the hanging part of the main. So you would add whatever distance you're hanging from, generally from the lag bolt to the top of the ceiling, which is about 20 inches. So we got basic 20 inches plus 10, 12, plus 16. So let's say 26 plus 20 is 46 inches. So we made a 46-inch long piece of wire, and we're going to bend this 10 inches or so. And we're going to go up here to where the lag is. We're going to go through that hole and let it hang down. Now, what I'm going to do is bend it like so, and then bend around. And then I turn that up. Why do I turn it up? Because if you leave it down, it's possible to pull hard enough or have enough weight to pull it out. Doing it this way, it will not pull out. It might sag. So again, we curled around it and then turned it up. And we're not going to do the bottom until we get the main up here. So, how much weight? Move the bench over here and watch me do it. Yeah. A lot of times you're right in the commercial situation, you're wrapping around a bar joist or something. You don't have to do that. Hook or shoot it up. A lot of times they'll do it. They have it set up where the wire can sit off to the side and they shoot it and the wire's hanging, so they never even have to get off the floor. They just stick that in the pole gun, which is quite expensive, and you have supposed to be licensed to shoot those guns, which it's a license to operate powder actuated tools. They use 22 and 32 caliber blanks to shoot the pin into the concrete above. Even then, they don't always hold. I remember there was this one guy that I was running my mouth at him for a long time. And the ceiling was probably 15 feet high, and ceiling grid was going to be at 10. So all the wire and everything was above him, and he always had his mouth open to get it right where he wanted it, and the pole gun shooting way up above his head. He's boom. And I kept telling him, I said, man, you're going to end up eating a bunch of concrete. So he come running to us. We were building a wall in there, and he was like, ah! He's coughing up blood. And so what had happened, he didn't tell us for a while because he couldn't talk very well, that he shot that pin up into the concrete. It didn't hold, and that wire came down and went right in his throat and stabbed his throat. He had to go to the hospital. He survived it just fine. He was just as mouthy as, and matter of fact, he had a lot of attitude even after that. But he definitely ate a wire from those. That was a commercial situation. I'm rambling and telling you stories, but yeah, it stabbed him in the throat. He was like a sword eater. Stuck him right in the throat and pulled it out and was bleeding. So he had to go to the hospital for that, amongst many other things. But he also ate concrete from time to time because he always had his mouth open. Yeah, you should listen to. In Mexico, they have a saying, always listen, because sometimes the donkey plays the violin. Anyway, we're going to keep on hanging these wires, get ready for our mains on 2-foot centers, not 4-foot, because that's the way the rest of the house was. And we'll show you when we get ready to hang a main how we do it. All right, so now we're getting ready to put some mains up. And on the main, it has, on both ends, you'll have this tongue here that will connect in. Yeah, the other one can connect into the side of it, but we're going to go against the wall here. So what I'm going to do is cut at an angle like so. All right, now put it up there where that mark is. Let me see the alignment part there. What I'm doing is the top of the bend where I bend it is going in where the hole is at the top of that hole. Like so. Then I can put it in a temporary fashion, like so. All right. Kind of hangs there, so. This you can change. You pull down on it. If you need to get the height different, you pull down on it and do this, and it will slide out of that hole. And this is something I just have to show you. All right, so now, so it doesn't fall out of that wall grid, I have some of these that you can buy at Lowe's, Home Depot. They are ceiling grid clamps, suspended ceiling grid clamps. They have rubber to keep you from scratching the paint. They work like so. So we're going to line up with that mark there, put the clamp on it. That way it holds it there until we get a rivet. All right. See how it's clamped there? We can still drill a hole here and put a rivet right there. That way it'll stay. that hole didn't fill this time. Now we've got to measure from this point here all the way to the wall. You want to get up on the wall. To the wall on top of it. 106 3/8. Cut it off square, but I'm going to go ahead and cut that at an angle too.
First,
Just hold it over there for a minute. I got to get into this. So, move it over to that 2-foot mark. It goes in the center,
over here, right?
right at the 2-foot mark. Right there, that made on the wall.
Yep, I'm there.
We put a suspended ceiling clamp right there.
But it looks off.
It is, it's not straight. But if you notice, I put it this one inside that one.
Oh. That's what the cables are for, to hold it straight too.
Huh?
These are also to hold it straight too?
No, that's just to suspend it. It does not keep anything straight.
How do you... If you got like a 100-foot wide room, you're doing this, how do you hold these up?
You suspend them higher than the...
So, oh, you keep suspending them as you go, instead of just plugging them in.
Notice I'm not twisting them together yet because I think they're high. No, which I want them to be kind of high. Not really. Alright. We'll set those other wires into it. Now we get ready. If that's the first row, then
With our teeth.
T, a little bit smaller. But if you notice, it has those little tabs in it. They go into these slots. Any one you wish to. We want to have 4-foot handles this way. And I've got, again, I don't want that tongue holding me off the wall.
Like so. Now you put your ceiling tile there. We're gonna go grab a ceiling tile. Put it
Good. No, we're gonna put a rivet in there on both ends.
because we got it clamped. Which we need more clamps, right?
I have 2 more. I need quite a bit more, but 2 more. We'll put rivets on.
Do we have rivets?
Yes. I don't know if I have drill bit for the rivets.
Something kind of gets wobbly when you're holding it for a while.
You don't need to have a whole lot of clamps. It's a good idea to have them. If you're just working at home doing one room, you don't have to. Kind of raise it up, goes into the slot, and then bring it down.
Well, you can see we got one tile there.
There's the beginning of it. We'll end up building this area and raising it up so that sunlight. So this will all be a little box, which I'll show you how we do that. But that's later. So we'll have to find a drill bit to drill in the rivets and then put the rivet gun to work, hold it in place.
And more string.
Check it for how straight it is. And it looks pretty straight. You gotta make sure this wall's pretty straight. this wall's not straight, that won't be straight because you're going against. You want to be shorter than if it's not straight wall. You want to cut this down a little bit. And you can cut all the boards that go on a crooked wall. But this happens to be really straight. So we're going to do the same thing and then add some more 2-footers. But if we go too far, these will have a tendency to fall out. So what I'm going to do, we usually have 6/8, and then if you're a ceiling grid guy, have these clamps. So then you can have a whole bunch of them holding everything in place. That way it doesn't move every time you snap one in. So we're going to do it again. Set the knocking board, we'll put it here. We'll put in some rivets so we can move our clamps. And we'll show you when we do that. Okay. So what we've got is put the mains up with the T's in temporarily. When we make sure it's where we want, lining that up the grid this way, then we clamp it because there's just a little bit of room for movement, and I clamp it in place. Then we take this, which is suspension ceiling grid punch, but you can also do it with a drill bit, but this is nice. And this straight part here needs to go kind of straight. And then punch it back, pull it back hard. Then we have a rivet gun. This is a nice one. It's a one-handed one. You don't have to have 2 hands. It's got multiple sizes. This is about $30, and this is the white rivets because that's the color I want to show. White. There you go. See how smooth that is? Now that won't move.
Watch your hand.
Now I'm going to pull it all the way out. And it comes out. There you go. I've done that all the way around and keep it from moving. We're going to hang up the rest of the grid. Then we're going to put a string line on and then set all the wire. So here we go. All right, so what I've done is put a screw here, tied a string to it, put a spacer, which is a 1/2-inch piece of drywall, did the same on the other side, and then I just measure from the string up to set my height with this wire. So you can pull on it to get it to go down and then wrap up. Okay. That's what we did. Set all the metal and run lines and you can check it off. But this is how you do it. You can do it much better, fancier, but this is something we don't do every day, so we get better and better. Like this loose one here needs to be tightened up. We get better and better if we did it every day, and we haven't. So I apologize, but this is basically so you can do it at your home and get an idea that it can be done. All right? Thank you.